Many came to Krishna. They often came with minds full of complex scripture and hearts heavy with the burden of endless rituals. They sought a map to liberation, expecting a difficult, winding road that only the strongest could travel. But occasionally, a soul would approach him carrying nothing but a naked, burning question. It was twilight on the banks of the river Yamuna. The heat of the day had surrendered to a cool breeze. The air smelled of dust and jasmine. Arjuna sat near Krishna, his mighty bow laid aside in the grass. The warrior, usually so assured, looked out over the dark water with the weight of the world in his eyes. His voice was brittle when he finally spoke, almost a whisper. "Govinda," he said, "the sages speak of 1,000 difficult paths. They speak of rigorous yoga, of intellectual inquiry that splits a hair into 100 parts, of austere penance in Himalayan caves." Arjuna turned to Krishna, his eyes searching. "These paths seem like towering, icy mountains, and I'm weary just looking at their distant peaks. The world is a storm of sorrow and fleeting joy, and my energy is small. Tell me truly, is there no easier way? How does a simple heart, burdened by life, will ever truly reach the divine? Must we struggle and bleed until our last breath just to catch a glimpse?" Krishna smiled. It was not a smile of amusement, but one of infinite compassion, like the moon patiently holding the night. He reached down and picked up a smooth, round river stone, turning it over in his fingers. "Arjuna," he said, his voice like deep, calm water, "you perceive the struggle because you are trying to climb the mountain while carrying the mountain on your back. Listen to a story. There was once a traveler seeking the Golden Isle across a vast and dangerous ocean. He believed the journey required immense personal strength. So, he spent years preparing. He studied complex navigation charts of the currents and the winds. He built a mighty raft with his own 2 hands, hammering every plank with anxious effort. He burdened himself with heavy provisions, enough for a lifetime of voyaging. Finally, he stood on the shore, exhausted by his own preparations, terrified of the massive waves crashing before him. He was ready to push his heavy raft into the surf. Just then, a magnificent, immense ship appeared silently out of the mist. It was sturdy and safe. The captain stood on the deck, holding out a hand to the weary traveler. "Come," the captain called gently. "Step aboard. The crossing is already paid for. You need only bring yourself." But the traveler hesitated. He looked at his own handmade raft. He clutched his heavy bundles of provisions. He pointed feverishly to his charts. "Wait!" the traveler cried to the captain. "I cannot just step aboard. I need to understand the depth of the water first. I need to prove I'm strong enough to row against this tide. I have worked too hard to just be carried." Krishna turned his gaze back to Arjuna. The traveler was so obsessed with the effort of the journey that he forgot the destination. He preferred his own struggling, fragile raft to the captain's sure embrace. He believed that if a thing is difficult, it must be true. Arjuna looked at the river stone in Krishna's hand. The realization dawned slowly, like the morning sun clearing a fog. "You are the traveler, beloved," Krishna said softly. "Your endless metaphysical questions, your need to feel worthy through struggle, your belief that you must build the bridge to the divine yourself. These are your heavy charts and your fragile raft. You ask for the easiest way. I tell you this: The easiest way is the only way that works because it requires nothing of your ego. What is this way? Arjuna breathed. Krishna dropped the stone into the water. It made no effort. It simply sank into the depths. It is called Bhakti, pure devotion. But do not mistake it for another ritual to perform. It is not ringing bells or chanting words you do not mean. It is the secret of the drowning man who finally stops fighting the terrible current and lets himself be carried. It is the simplicity of a child running into its mother's arms without stopping to ask if it is worthy of love. Give up the idea that you must find me. I have been seeking you for lifetimes. You think you need strength, but the secret is helplessness. When you realize you cannot cross this ocean on your own raft, you finally look up at the ship. The easiest way, Arjuna, is to stop running away. Just offer your heart, broken and weary as it is. That is the only luggage you need. The twilight faded fully into night. The stars emerged, reflected in the dark river. The questions in Arjuna's heart dissolved, not into answers, but into silence. Wherever you are right now, put down your charts. Put down your struggle to be better, to climb higher. The captain is waiting. Just rest here in this moment, in this embrace.